Hey guys, Spud here, and today I figured we'd just do a bit of a live video and live commentary to give a first impressions of the new update that came to DCS World today. That's going to be DCS version 2.9.10.9348 for those of you who are curious, and take a look at some of the awesome new tools and additions to the game that came with this update, including the drag and select tool for the mission editor, the new fog and dust effects, as well as, of course, the deck crew animations for the Supercarrier. And I figured we'd roll all of these into one today to kind of do a quick look and first impressions video. So let's go ahead and get started here. First thing we're going to do is we are going to set up a bit of a, kind of training, just very simple carrier ops type mission file here in the Red Sea for some pretty scenery around us as we fly around today. And what we'll do here is we'll grab a Supercarrier population template from another mission using the new drag and select tool that came with the new update. So let's get started with that. We'll go to File, Open. We will open up a new mission. We're going to scroll down to the E drive, the DCS World install folder, and we'll go to the mods folder. We'll go to Tech, Supercarrier, should be missions, single missions, and we're going to go to the population template here. And of course, this will bring us over to another Ms file, so the mission editor is just going to load up the Caucasus map real quick here. And you can see by that little splash screen, we do have the new and updated FIV Tiger 2 installed, so we'll take a look at that in a separate video here. So to use the new drag and select tool, you just simply click this little drag box icon down at the very bottom here underneath the map category. Click on that guy, and then you can drag a box, and that will select different objects, and we can see what we want to select versus what we want to unselect. And there's additional things and additional usability by hitting the Control key, Control Shift key, Control and Alt to unselect things, and just make it generally a little bit more faster to use using some macros rather than having to click all these buttons all the time. So for selecting and potentially copying a whole carrier group with a fully populated carrier deck here for the Supercarrier like we've got, we probably definitely want to be selecting airplanes, helicopters, ships, vehicles, and statics all at once. So we're going to zoom out here so we can very easily drag a box across the entire group of blue units here. So what we'll do is we'll just click and drag, and we'll select all of these guys. We're then going to hit Control and C on the keyboard for, of course, the copy macro that's here in DCS World, as well as through the rest of Windows. Then we're going to go back to our Sinai Ms file. We're going to click Open there. And yes, we're going to create a new mission, and we're going to go back to My Missions, Supercarrier Testing, back to, of course, our new beautiful F5 splash screen there. And we'll be brought back to the Sinai Ms file as soon as it loads. There we go, perfect. And we'll just kind of come on down here into the Red Sea Basin area on the Sinai map. That'll give us some beautiful scenery to fly around today as we test out the new deck crew. Then, of course, we're just going to hit Control and V to paste that big old group of objects that we copied from the template file earlier. And, of course, once we paste these guys here, we are good to start manipulating it inside of this Sinai Ms file. So let's say you wanted to come in here and maybe move around where some of these objects are placed on the carrier deck. So you can also use this new click and drag tool, and what we need to do is just simply exclude, say, aircraft and helicopters and ships and vehicles, and we only want the static. So say these static Hornets, the ground crew, these Hawkeyes, the Seahawks, things of that nature. Well, we can simply just drag our drag tool across them, and then we can hold the Control key on your keyboard to start moving these guys around. Now, of course, you want to make sure that they are on the carrier deck when you release them, so that way they don't snap to an odd place on the carrier deck, or even potentially snap all the way to the land on you. And then let's say we actually intentionally wanted to select all of these guys in this little group, and we accidentally left out the little F-18 here and the little guy here from our drag box. Well, all we got to do to add them to our selected group is just hit Control and Shift, and then we can add them. And then if we wanted to remove units from this group, like let's say we wanted to leave this little guy here out of the group, just hit Control and Alt, and that will, of course, exclude that little guy, and we actually accidentally got that F-18 there, so we got to just add that F-18 back. And then, of course, hit Control again, and now we can drag all of these guys around. So this is going to be really important for, say, if you wanted to then rotate this entire group around. Unfortunately, from the tiny little bit of testing before I went live here, or hit the record button, I should say, I tried to rotate an entire carrier battle group around, and unfortunately, it did not really rotate all of the static units around the axis of the carrier, and so they ended up in bizarre places, but you can always drag these guys back to the same place they were. Anyway, let's add a F-18 that is player controlled onto the map here, and then we will hop into the cockpit. So we'll just add in a Hornet, FA-18C, we'll make him a client. I just, by default, make every aircraft, even for single player missions, the client. I don't know why, I guess it's just habit at this point for making so many multiplayer missions. And we'll go FA-18C test, and adjust our loadout a little bit here. And why don't we go for some a loadout or a skin of one of the Hornet squadrons that you're probably hearing in the background of my audio today. F-18s here at Miramar are doing quite a bit of touch and go practice today. And we'll go ahead and change this to an at-flare pod since we are on the boat. And we'll get rid of that center fuel tank. Beautiful. We'll just add a quick little route around the carrier deck here. Boom, 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 boom. Nothing too crazy. Landing. We will make sure that our first waypoint here is takeoff from parking hot, just to make things a little faster and quicker for us. And we're going to go ahead and add a couple of wingmen to our flight here. Base. And see how the deck crew handles our wingmen here in single player. We'll hit File, Save. And then finally, let's double check and make sure our carrier has a TACAN assigned to it. Channel 11, that should be good to go. Oh, that's the ICLS, what am I saying? Channel 71 for the TACAN. And call sign, we'll just call this TRV for Teddy Roosevelt. And that should be ready to rock and roll. Beautiful. File, save. And then finally, a last addition here is let's play with the new dust storm effects for today, since we are in the Sinai Peninsula region, so a dust storm effect is definitely going to be valid for today. We'll go ahead and make visibility about, let's go with 10,000-ish feet. And let's see what that gives us for today. That might make it pretty darn low visibility, but we'll see what it gives us. And of course for the wind, we'll put the wind down the deck for today. 126. Let's go with 10 knots. Whoops. 10 knots of wind, and we should be good to rock and roll. Let's see what this gives us for today. A little bit more dramatic light here in the morning. All right. Fly mission, yes. Really love this new F5 loading / splash screen from the updated F5. That's really cool, for sure. All right, so we'll jump into the cockpit of our Hornet here. We may have overdone it with the dust effect. Holy crap, we definitely did. That's okay. We will work with it because it looks kind of cool. Alright, awaiting salute gesture. I think I have that rebound to my S key, but let's take a look just to make sure. Pilot salute. S key, yep. Good to go there. Alright, so let's go through our aircraft here and make sure that we are good to go. TACAN 71 X-ray. Let's go ahead and turn that on for now. Bingo, we'll put a bingo of 6,000. Sounds like our AI shipmates are getting ready for a launch over there. Flaps are set to half. Carrier, no lights. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Oh, looks like our strobe light is on, potentially. Yep. We'll get that off. And we should be... I'm going to bring my INS to IFA. Should be good to go at this point. Okay. Thought I gave him up the salute gesture. Let's see. Waiting. Okay. Now we're awaiting ATC status. I hope that maybe there's a way to move these little text boxes a bit to the side to make things a little bit more cinematic. I do think that this is a good idea for starting off with to learn the new system, having the little pink icon above our guys. You can see we've got some other AI Hornets taxiing to various spots for takeoff. You guys can see, of course, that we don't have any Tomcats on the deck, and that's just intentional here to start off with, just to make sure we don't induce any, unforced errors on DCS and the DCS AI, at least for this very first fly-through. And it's very cool too. I'm just now noticing that one of my big worries about this system was that we were going to have plane directors for us, but there were going to be, like, say, no plane directors for anybody else as well.
Airborne.
Whoop, that's a little loud. Why don't we turn that down? So that's really cool that we can see a flight director for the other AI aircraft that are around the carrier deck here. This really, really makes the whole system look populated and look really, really nice to have multiple dudes scattered around the carrier deck for sure. Okay, so looks like we are good to go. Parking brake is off. Does the ground crew have our chocks in? They do not. Perfect. So, looking at our plane director, we're just going to... He's a little close, but I think we're okay. Taxi forward, nice and slow. Make sure our high gain nose wheel steering's turned on. Keep coming forward, keep coming forward. Keep coming to the left. Whoops, stuck on the wires, a little bit more power. And keep coming left. Keep coming left, keep coming left, keep coming left. Okay. Holding here. Beautiful. Yeah, I do hope that we can somehow... I think this AIF-18 just taxied through some static units. I do hope that we can move this text box up to, like, say, the top or top left, bottom right, top right, all that good stuff, just so that way we can kind of get that out of the way of our field of view here, make things look a little bit more cinematic. So obviously things aren't absolutely perfect, but man, it sure is cool, that's for sure. Okay, so waiting for this guy to launch off of Cat 4, and then we should be clear to start hooking up to Cat 3. And there he goes.
Dodge 1, airborne. Dodge 1, passing waypoint 1 at 1,000.
Alright, so now he has handed us off to the plane director who is straddling the catapult. So we're going to come to the left, let's come forward. It has been a while since I've done any naval ops in DCS. Coming forward. Coming right. Forward.
Rolling.
Right. Forward. Feel like I need to come right, but we'll go ahead and trust him. Maybe we need to come right a little bit. Yeah, we're not quite lined up. That's okay. So we can trust him, but it's still a game, of course. And coming forward more. Stopping.
Dodge 1, passing waypoint 2 at 6,000.
Here come the wings. So while it's been a while since I've done naval ops, it's starting to come back a little bit here. I'm definitely not carrier qualified at the moment, but we'll do our best here. Right, launch bar coming down. And it looks like our Hawkeye is starting to spin up over there to our right-hand side. Starting to come forward a bit. There's the shuttle. Let's get the bar over the shuttle. Stop. All right. I think the aircraft was shaking a little bit when the auto kind of lineup function of DCS is kind of getting us perfectly squared away on the shuttle.
Rolling.
Alright. Launch bars coming up. Power being applied. I'm not sure why we're getting a check trim. There we go. Salute. And off we go. Gears up, flaps are up. Little clearing turn. And coming back to BRC. Alright guys, that was pretty darn cool, and that was really smooth to get launched off of the carrier deck by the new carrier deck crew, the plane directors that are out there. This is going to be really cool, and I think really help kind of organize the mass chaos that is multiplayer carrier ops. So why don't we go ahead and, for the sake of time, we'll go ahead and kill this mission, and we'll set us up for a case 1, and we'll kind of reduce the sandstorm effect so that way it's not quite as blinding, and we can just do a regular good old case 1 here. Alrighty guys, through the magic of video editing, we are now up in the air, inbound for a case 1 landing on the carrier to take a look at how the plane directors handle us landing and then directing us to a parking spot. Now, little disclaimer here, I have not been practicing my carrier ops for quite a while, so this is probably going to be pretty ugly, but we'll see how it goes. And we'll make sure we hit the flight kiss off radio call button here. Bringing it back up to 350 knots and down to 800 feet. There's 350. Coming down to 800 feet. I'd rather be a little high than a little low. Coming right up the right-hand side of the ship. We'll call that good for 800 feet. Deck is looking clear. Waiting for 0.5 DME. And F3 for flight kiss-off. And speed brakes coming out, match our G to about 1% of our airspeed. I typically go a little bit lower because I don't like to be squished into the ship too much, because I find that makes it a lot more difficult. Coming around to the reciprocal of the BRC. That should be good to go. Gear flaps coming down. Probably a little late on the gear and flaps, but it's all good. It's not like we were going to touch down without them. Looking for the round down. There it is. We'll start to come on down. A little high. Working better, working better.
Zero 33. Hornetball 5.8.
Looking better. A little high. Rather be high than low. Okay. Coming left for lineup a bit. Working high on the ball. Bring the power down a bit. There we go, that's looking better. Rather be a little high than low, so I'm okay with it. Alright. 4-wire? Yep. To be expected. Okay. Flaps coming up. That's going to allow the wings to fold. There's our plane director. Coming to the right. Coming right more, right more, right more. And off to the next guy. Coming right, coming right, coming right. Yep, I unfortunately made my wingman have to wave off because I got a little bit confused as to why my wings weren't folding. That's just not being super... Whoop, coming back to the left. Super familiar with the Hornet. Okay, he's telling me to come forward. Coming right. Forward. And that's pretty cool. That's a very cool visual. He's telling me to come right more. Hopefully we don't cross the foul line, which I think we are, which isn't so great. Going forward again. Into the right. Back to the left. I think he doesn't know that they're these. Alrighty guys, we're back in the office again here, and this time I've decided to go ahead and get rid of any of the static units that are on the deck of the aircraft carrier. Because I think right now the plane directors are not taking into account static units scattered around the ship deck, like we kind of saw when the AI taxied through some static Seahawks and a Hawkeye when we were getting ready for our launch off of the carrier, and that's why the plane director put me right into that, I believe it was a Hawkeye, and made me explode. So let's try this again and see how it works out. And I'm guessing that most of you guys who play in DCS World multiplayer with large groups of players, you guys don't have any static units on the deck of your carriers for more or less the same reason, that you don't want human players to run into those things when there's, say, 16 jets and a mix of Tomcats and Hornets on the carrier deck. So let's go ahead and make another landing here. Hopefully we can do as hopefully sort of good as we did last time, and I'm going to try to stay in front of the jet a little bit more this time. So here we go. Alright, carrier deck is looking clear. Ba-ba-ba. Yep, cool. Waiting for 0.5 DME. I'm a little bit faster than 350 knots this time, but I think it's okay. There we go, flight kiss off. Speed brake coming out. And like I said before, guys, I like to work a little bit wider and a little bit higher than lower and too tight, because that is much easier to make corrections. Flaps coming down, gears coming down. Starting to get onto the reciprocal of the BRC. A little bit of nose up trim. We are just a hair above max trap weight, but I think for the sake of our demonstration here, it'll be okay. That's probably why we had such a high RPM requirement on the last trap that we did. So, waiting for the round down here. I'm kind of liking my position on the downwind a little bit better. Okay, there's the round down, and we're coming around. Bit of a descent. We don't want to get too low. Bit of a stutter there. I think that stutter might be from the new fog. I'm not quite sure. Okay, coming around. I'm gonna cage the HUD. Probably a little bit high. Like I said earlier, I'd rather be high than low. Tighten up the turn a bit. Make sure the hook's down. We're good. We've got the ball.
033, Hornet ball, 5.7.
Okay, now we gotta work a lot lower here.
Roger ball.
Good on the lineup, though. I like the lineup. Okay, coming on down. It's a little bit high. Keeping that velocity vector right in the crook of the ship. Looking good. Maybe a little high. Coming down.
Wave off, wave off.
Whoop, not sure why we got the wave off call there, because we got a 3-wire. Flaps coming up. Fold the wings a little bit quicker. Coming to the right, following our plane director. Hopefully we get off quick enough to not cause a go-around. Not sure what's wrong with our gear. Alright, silence the warning tone. Okay, we're off the foul, past the foul line, so our -2 could make his trap. Coming to the right-hand side here. Taxiing forward. Okay, he's saying to go forward here. He's going to taxi us across the foul line. Oh, coming to the left this time. Well, so maybe the plane directors were trying to get us to go around those static objects, but they had to cross the foul line, and then they tried to keep me from crossing that line. That looked like maybe a 1-wire. So I'm not quite sure what to do on that one. But I think the best thing to do is just not to be use any static units on the deck of your supercarrier while they're still kind of developing these plane directors. Okay, so now we're going to the guy at the stern of the ship. He's having us come forward still, coming right on the edge of that foul line. Coming to the right. Okay, except we've got Hornet. Okay, so we're still tracking okay. I'm gonna stop because that's freaking me out. Zoom. And a 3-wire. Yep. Okay, coming to the right now. Coming forward. Hard left. Forward. Come to the right. You're going to taxi me off the ship. Stop. Engine idle. Alrighty guys, we'll go ahead and stop it here since this is a bit of a first impressions video. But, you know, the plane directors on the new supercarrier here are very, very cool and very impressive, and it's really awesome to get the new drag and select tool for the DCS World Mission Editor. And this is a very, very, very welcome update to DCS World that I think a lot of people are going to be very, very happy with. And it's a lot of fun, and I do think that for the mass launches off of the carrier deck by, say, large multiplayer groups are going to be a lot better and a lot more organized now with these plane directors, and we won't have to have, say, essentially a ground controller for the aircraft carrier directing pilots via radio to get to the catapult they've been assigned to. So I think that this is going to be a great addition to DCS, and the mission editor tools that have been added are really fantastic and will make it so much easier to create the large missions that I love to create for my community. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was kind of a quick and dirty and very kind of off-the-cuff video, so if you liked it, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one, guys. Fly safe out there and enjoy this beautiful game.